What my colleague and I have been interested in is understanding what types of products people like to buy when they're pursuing different goals. So for example, you're trying to lose weight, you want to get fit, you have different professional goals. And in particular, we want to know, do you want the product that tells you, hey, we'll do it all for you. We'll make this very easy for you. Or do you want the product that says, we'll help you. We'll be a nice compliment. We'll help you down this path, but you have to work really hard as well. And so that's our question. So which do you want, the kind of the hero or more of just the helper? And we think that one important determinant of this is your feeling of control over outcomes in your life. So the extent to which you feel as if you can make positive things happen and avoid negative things in your life. And we find that when people feel low control over different aspects of their lives, they actually want the brand that's more of the helper, not the hero. So they want the brand that says, you have to work hard and we'll be here to help you, but we're not going to do all of the hard work for you. So they'd rather Nike come in and say, you put on our shoes, if you work really hard, we'll help you towards this goal of losing weight or getting fit. They don't want Nike to come in and say, put on our shoes and it'll do all of the work for you. So they want to feel as if they have to put in the work, because this gives them a sense of empowerment. It makes them feel as if eventually they can actually control outcomes in their lives again. And so that's what we've studied over a course of several studies and have found this same effect very reliably. We focus on two different groups, consumers and marketers. And for consumers, the one thing we'd want people to take away is the idea that you may not want the product with all of the bells and whistles or the product that says it will make things as easy for you as possible. You may actually be more satisfied by picking up the product that you believe you have to put in a little more of the effort to see the same outcome. And for marketers, it's a similar idea. It's that your consumers may not want you to tell them that your product is so fantastic that it will do everything for them and that they don't have to put in so much work. You may not want to emphasize so much ease in using your product or getting the benefit from your product. You may want to instead focus on the idea that consumers have to put in a little bit of the work as they use your product, and then they'll get the desired outcome. For example, if you know that you are dealing with consumers that have low control, instead of automatically telling consumers that, hey, our product will make this as easy for you as possible, let's say cleaning, for example, you have a Swiffer. Instead of focusing on how easy it is to clean with Swiffer, for your low control consumer, you may want to say, hey, this is a very effective product, but it needs you. So if you put in the hard work, our product is there to help you along the way to make sure you gain these fantastic cleaning outcomes in your home. And so in both cases, you're talking about the product being great and getting a quality outcome, but in one situation, you're focusing more on the value of the consumer there. So you're saying that the consumer has a role in delivering this outcome that they're looking for. So at marketers, we already do a lot of psychographic research. And so to your point, we can understand who our targets are in general, and we can start by, throwing in questions about personal control, just very basic questions to see how much control our target consumer feels over their outcomes in life. And so that will give you a general sense, a place to start when you're focusing on your particular target consumer. We also know that there are different demographic trends that predict feelings of control. So for example, the lower you are in income, oftentimes the lower your feelings of control. Or the more elderly in our population often have lower feelings of control, or others who don't have as much control over their health or just physical abilities and mobility in general often have lower feelings of control. So some of those trends can give you cues and clues as to whether or not you may be dealing with consumers that have low feelings of control. But it does require more targeted psychographic research to really understand your particular target consumer to see if this is important for them. Yeah, so our research, over several different experiments, we focus largely on manipulating people's feelings of control. So I'll have people write about a time when they had low control to make people feel this sense of low control. Or, I looked at intramural basketball players, and I would recruit people after they won and after they lost, and I get a sense of control based on, whether or not you won or lost your game. And so in all of these cases, I'm making people feel low or high control or using natural environments to test this. But we know that there are lots of situations where people just chronically feel low or high control, and I think our research is particularly applicable to those groups. So, for example, the low-income populations or the folks who are older in age and have health issues. I think for those groups who have these chronic issues with control, issues with feeling as if they can really alter things in their environment, I think for those groups it's particularly important to think about the types of products that they want and how you can be more empowering in your products for them. For people who always have a very high sense of control, we find that they don't really care how you talk to them about their products. So we didn't see much of a difference in their reactions as to whether or not the product was empowering for them or not. So whether or not you said it required a lot of effort or not. Where it really mattered was for consumers when they experience low control. So, it could be a consumer who typically feels high control, but then they just had a very bad day. And they, turned on the news and read about or saw a story about a lot of violence in their neighborhood. That would be enough to trigger a feeling of low control over their lives in that moment. Or maybe it's the recession that's making them feel lower control than they might normally feel. So even those high control people, if you can find moments in which they feel low control, that's the place in which you can try to target them, or you can try to manipulate even your communication with them to remind people that, hey, you may not have as much control over your life as you'd like. So if you can get people to think about low control, then they see this preference for the high effort products. If you have consumers who never, for some reason, ever think about the fact that they may have low control, then the results don't seem to differ much. They don't seem to care. Yeah, well, I think there are a lot of interesting tidbits and maybe buzz about high-intensity workouts nowadays. So, CrossFit programs or P90X, Insanity, all of these things where you see lots of people who love to work out, to the point where they puke, right? And so it's very hard for many of us to understand this, but I think that our research suggests in some ways that working so hard, this high-intensity type of training, gives people a sense of control. It's the one part of their day or part of their lives where even if nothing else is going right, even if they have no control over anything else that happens, when they step into the gym or when they turn on their video to work out, this is the one thing they have control over. This is the one thing that they say, I can make my body do what I need it to do. And so I think that in a lot of ways, these are examples of people trying to reassert control through their effort. On one hand, I hope that it just allows people to see that we may all try to reassert control in different ways that we may not expect, in ways that don't necessarily seem always logical or rational to others, but it's our way, our piece of kind of establishing control in life. I think also there are sometimes stereotypes or beliefs that folks who typically have lower control, so folks with lower income or physical disabilities, we tend to think that they want us to make things very easy for them, and that may not be the case. They want to be able to exert some levels of effort so that they can empower themselves and achieve outcomes, and so hopefully this research will help to shed a bit of light on that. So there's been research done for a long time looking at low feelings of control, and a lot of the research suggests that low feelings of control leads people to give up more quickly. So if I give you a puzzle and you have low feelings of control, you won't spend as much time on it. Or if I put you under a certain amount of pain, you'll be less likely to be able to deal with that pain or to endure. And what our research is suggesting is that if you give people a tool or a prop, like brands, that just gives them the sense that there's someone here, something here to help you, that you can get low control people to actually want to put in the effort, because now this is their chance. They've got Nike by their side, right? So now they have a chance to say, let me put in this hard work. I know I can do it. I have support here, and now I can feel empowered. And so they're not as likely to give up as what we've seen in prior research. So we've been thinking a bit about this idea of effort, and we're wondering how feelings of control may impact things like cheating, for example. So, both in an academic context, but also in a more business-related context. It could be cheating on taxes. It could be stealing. If low control folks are more interested in effort when they feel as if they can engage in effort, how does this impact cheating? Might we see differences between low and high control? We think that'd be interesting. We're also interested in learning more about what aspects of our environment, particularly our shopping environments, influence people's feelings of control. So what is it about, going into a Target or a Walmart that might inspire low feelings of control or high feelings of control? And so we think, understanding more systematically about feelings of control in the retail environment would be interesting.